Okay, so Danny Baker is in the news at the moment. If you haven't heard of Danny Baker, he's a broadcaster from England. He's a journalist, he's an author, he's a radio presenter, and he's done television work as well. The reason he's in the news is because he put something on Twitter about the royal baby that's just been born. If you look at the screen now, you'll see the caption that he put. A black and white photo of a posh couple with a baby chimpanzee. People are saying that it was racist for him to have put that because Prince Harry's wife Meghan is mixed race, her ethnicity, so they are claiming that Danny Baker was putting out a racist statement, which he's denied, and I believe him. Why do I believe that he's genuine? Why do I believe that he wasn't being racist? Well, being born into the royal family is like being in a circus, really. It's an unnatural life. In fact, being famous in general is not the norm, is it? And it's being born into one of the most famous families in the world, which is what the royal family is like being under the microscope. You're being watched. You've got the paparazzi filming you and taking photos of you. And what Danny Baker was saying, and he's explained this, which I believe, he was saying, royal baby, it's like being a performing chimp, because animals have been used in zoos for a long time to do tricks, and and that was the kind of analogy, or whatever the word is, that he was trying to convey. And it was a spontaneous thing that he posted up. I do understand it's a sensitive issue. I'm a white man, so I don't understand. I've not been exposed to racism I've not been subject to racist taunts from people and comments, and I know that the monkey, using the word monkey has been used in a derogatory way towards people of darker skin, black people. I'm not fond of labels. Human beings are human beings. I take people as I find them. There's good and there's bad, and there's all in all races. If you look at history, I think a lot of races have done bad things, and that could be now or that could be in the past. I mean, certainly the British Empire has done some very bad things. But as to Danny Baker, Twitter removed the photo, I think, or perhaps Danny Baker removed the photo when it was pointed out to him that it was being perceived as being racist or being insensitive. That's fair enough. I can kind of see that. Just remove it. But then the BBC have sacked him from his job, so he's been fired. He's been fired for doing that. I just think it's wrong. I think it's giving this the oxygen of publicity. I think by giving it publicity, it's the story is running, and there's two things really. One, the photo is going to be used by genuinely racist people out there, and they're going to be perhaps laughing about it. Genuinely bad, ignorant, racist scumbags are going to be aware of this photo now. And on the flip side of the coin is there will be a small minority of people with a chip on their shoulder who will take this photo as proof that the white man is against them, or further proof of what they see as racism being endemic, being everywhere. There are people in life who have chips on their shoulder, not just about race, about, a persecution complex. Some religious people think that they're being persecuted. Some, you name it. So all it's done, it's given by the media choosing to, because he's well known, Danny Baker's, like I said, he's a broadcaster, he's fairly well known in the UK. By giving it publicity, it's kind of fueling the, I don't know, it's not nothing positive has come out of it. I get it. I get the BBC that has to kind of do something. I didn't think he needed to be sacked from his job. I think perhaps they think he's unrepentant, but to thine own self be true, as the saying goes. And he knows in his heart, I'm pretty sure he knows in his heart, or he feels in his heart, that he's not done anything racist, and he isn't a racist. So to apologise for something that he hasn't really done, only he knows his intent. A lot of people seem to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. Perhaps not a lot of people, but I should say some people in the media and at the BBC. They've become the judge, jury, and the executioner of Danny Baker. Saying, yep, he's got to go. Which does pose an interesting question, really, about who ultimately decides what is and what isn't offensive. Some fundamental Christians might be offended by something that somebody puts about. It could be to do with transgender movement. It could be something, and they might want a person to be sacked, or I don't know. It's a tricky. It's a balancing act, isn't it? And I know people don't always get it right. I don't understand racism. I like I said, I take people as I find them. I've met people from all walks of life so far in my 44 years on this earth. I've met people. I've lived overseas. I've hosted people at my house from different countries. But just to go off topic, there's that saying that birds of a feather flock together, and that doesn't mean that somebody's racist. Like if a black person wants to hang out with mainly black people, if a white person wants to, I don't necessarily think it's a conscious thing. I just think we gravitate towards people that we have things in common with, and sometimes races do mix. They socialise and they marry each other, but in general, I think, yeah, birds of a feather flock together. That's not racist of me to say that. That's just, and I'm going off topic now, but that's kind of, yeah, I just think that we have to respect our differences. We're all human beings, and I've often wondered how many blind people are racist. If you're born completely blind, you wouldn't have any concept of colour. Is it possible to be blind and be racist? Which makes you think about a few things, really. And people are saying that, he hasn't posted anything about the previous royal babies. He's not posted anything up. So that makes him a racist, does it? Because he's not posted something about William's babies when they were born. I mean, it's just, people are spontaneous. They post things up. They don't always think about it. I think he was misguided. I think he was not misguided. I just think he wasn't thinking, was he? But to call him a racist, to say, I know what's in his heart. He's a bad person. I mean, should he have been sacked? If you've made it this far, I'd like to know your thoughts. I've tried to be respectful. But the corporate media and the mainstream media need to get their priorities straight. If you have a look at the screen now, that's a photo from a war zone. 500,000 people have been killed in Syria in the last 7 years. Just think about that. 500,000 people. Yet we're focusing on a tweet from somebody. We're focusing on David Beckham or Britney Spears, or, things that are really not important in the scheme of things. Of course, yeah, racism definitely is important, and I'm not trying to diminish or discredit, or whatever the word is. I'm not trying to do that, but facing the planet, yeah, wars and the global arms trade is profiting from misery. It's profiting from selling weapons that kill people and destroy buildings and psychologically damage people, both the soldiers and the victims of war zones. So those are the things that the media should be focusing on, and I just think, once again, this illustrates the power of the media, the power that they focus on, the things that they focus on are powerful. They decide what ideas get into our head, and they decide what we learn and what we think about. And if you've got this far, I just want to say thanks for watching and have a great day.